Thank you. The Supreme Court recently sent a case back to a lower court that dealt with the program called DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, allowing some children of undocumented immigrants to stay and work legally in the U.S. Do you think these immigrants should be allowed to stay? And if elected, what type of immigration legislation would you prioritize? To Mr. Negron first, please.
Thank you, John. Yes, I was aware of that Supreme Court ruling down to the lower courts. Look, the first thing we have to do is recognize that we are a land of laws. And that's the first thing we have to recognize. And I've always spoke that I think that there is a requirement and a need, and our president has said so, of an overhaul of the immigration system, not only the immigration system, but also the visa process by which you come here. I think there are people that are here that want to be productive citizens. Not everybody wants to be a U.S. citizen. I think that's a fallacy that people want to talk about, that everybody wants to come to the United States to become a citizen. They could be here on visas, work visas, student visas, whatever the case may be. So I believe that we need to look at this program in its totality, not in just a single instance, and see if there's some ways that we can better improve our immigration system, because there's always ways to make things better.
And Ms. Blankenbecker, same question.
Yeah, thank you. So I feel like that, my family immigrated here. My grandparents on both sides immigrated here. My parents were first generation in this country, and they came here for opportunity. And so when we do have immigrants come to this country legally and want to become citizens, we do need to make that as seamless and streamlined as possible. And we do know that our immigration process is broken, and that does need to be looked at, and we do need to fix the flaws in that program. But I also don't believe with coming over to this country illegally and trying to take advantage of things that legally born citizens in this country or legal citizens don't have advantage of. So, for example, education. Children who are not legal citizens of this country shouldn't receive a free education over a child who was born in this country or a child who was a natural citizen of this country.